I made a list. I'm very organized now. It's like, I feel like the energy has just cleared out a bunch of stuff from my life, and hard but good ways. And now, like, things are starting to coalesce and come together, and even the things that haven't yet, I'm seeing how they're going to. It's just a matter of divine timing a little bit. So that I was working with the chakra healing thing you said, or chakra trauma healing.
Okay.
Meditation often, and then basically, I mean, I don't know if I'm in this graduate program for art, but I'm also doing this because I went through a really intense physical illness, and it brought me back to the energy work. So that's kind of what the past 2 years have been for me. And so I'm like balancing them both, but I'm on a pause where I need resources to come in to create the art. So in a weird, beautiful way, I have all this time right now to pour into doing this. And it feels meant to be. So we didn't, like, I have basically what happened is, like, there was all this trauma pain. I don't know how much I've shared. I was very, I think, discombobulated for months. But I went to my doctor on Monday, and they found like a reactivation of the Epstein-Barr virus.
Okay.
And it had set into my nervous system, I guess she's saying, that it was affecting, because it's just been like insane pain.
Okay.
All through my neck and half my head. I felt like I was almost like a two-faced human being. And that's when I came to the energy work, because the only thing that would relieve it was doing energy work. And like, first it was Reiki, and then I started this with you. And so finally I have at least a medical answer, like, so other people don't think I'm insane. Mm-hmm. So, and I have my acupuncturist. I have two of them, and they're a husband and wife, and one of them does kind of more energy stuff, and then the other one is very practical, physical, herbal oriented, and he just started me on this regimen yesterday for this, and it's feeling a little bit exacerbated, so that's one thing, but I just wanted to mention it in case, like, I think what I wanted, there's like 3 things I really want to start working on and address, and they're a little bit different from each other, so maybe if you could tell me which one you think would be the first thing today. Another is, so as I've been combing through these, like, I finished the Reiki courses, all the Reiki with the quantum keys, and then I've been combing through all the webinars in the Antojai and slowly going back and revisiting. So basically, I've spent the past week completely immersed in this. And it's been really amazing. So there's just little things that I can't remember for the life of me which, I think it was in the Reiki, but you did this thing where you had the eye of Horus on the left eye, mm-hmm. and the eye of Ra on the right, mm-hmm. and I've never felt my third eye like that, and it was just incredible. And so the other thing that's happened with all of this is that I finally feel I've cleared so much out. I finally feel ready to begin an energy practice. It's something that I've done, but I've never, like, for various reasons of self-doubt or fear, and then randomly my acupuncturists are opening up this new healing space in New York, and it's going to open February 21st, and they asked me if I want to, like, have a room there or whatever with them. So it's been kind of this amazing, I couldn't think of people I'd rather share a space with. So it's been really amazing. But now I'm like, okay, February 21st, I have to so before I've always done the energy work, focusing on myself, which I think is important because then you work through everything so you can better heal. But I'm ready to kind of really start tapping into my own intuition and my third eye and things like that a little bit more, and my sight. So it just, when that happened with that, I was wondering if there's something that you could guide me there. So those are the two kind of, I think for today, those are the two things. And then the last, I've been having these amazing dreams. And there's two that really stuck out. One was very quick to describe, but basically this person in my life who I know he's a soulmate. He's not my partner, but he's just we have this very special connection. And he was in my dream just telling me the number 9,500, and he kept saying it over and over again. And so then I was like, God, this is so weird. And I looked it up on the Google thing, and it has to do with money coming in and solidifying and stuff like that. So that got me thinking that my dreams were starting to communicate again. And then the one that I'm really curious about, so it was this dream, and I wrote it down, but I'm going to try and just remember it. But basically, I was in this field, and then all of a sudden, I started to run, and I started to fly, and then I crossed a layer of, it wasn't cloud, but it was like an energetic layer upward. And then I changed into an angel kind of being. And then I was with all these other beings, and they were in all these different costumes, like they different forms. And then one of them, basically, they were telling me, you now have to go back down and share the energy. Like, the whole point was for everyone there to be able to go back down and heal and help. And this one being was it was kind of like a rascal being, and he was like, I'm just gonna heal people by kissing them. And then someone was like, no, you can't do that, it has to be deeper than that. And then we were in an elevator going down, a couple of us, and they said that the reason to encounter this energy was so you didn't fear death, and that there was something, they were referencing a higher power that started with the letter E, and it was 5 letters, I think, 4 or 5, and I don't know what it was, the word. All I know is it was E something. And anyway, I was just curious how to, if you have any recommendations on how to work with dreams a little bit more, because they seem to be getting kind of, I never dream so clearly, but it's always a little odd, but I'm starting to feel more communication from them. Okay. So those are the things that I'm thinking about.
Okay. All right, cool. Give me 20 seconds. I'm going to hit this really fast because I got to kind of brainstorm really quick.
Totally.
Okay. So it's all connected to the same section. When it comes to dreams and using astral space, have you ever accessed the astral lab?
I've put that intention, but I can't, it's never been
Okay, so how do you put the intention to access the astral lab?
Just before I go to bed. I think I did it with time, as I just summoned time, and I just invited the journey to the astral. But anytime I do that, it's not when I dream. It's always when it's something else. So that's definitely something, I'm starting to feel stronger connections to certain things, and the access to that is definitely something I can't like, I can't feel it yet.
Okay. Have you taken the chakra mirror class?
No, but I just bought it on Udemy. So
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna kind of like speed since you've already taken like higher courses now over that one, that the tier that's on Udemy is gonna get you to a certain degree, but it's not gonna be like the level that I'm gonna be introducing later into Antojai proper, which is gonna be like really, really advanced. So I'm gonna like skip you a little bit because those first two levels, uh, even though they're really beneficial for you, like you can handle a little bit more right now. So basically, the whole chakra mirror is about like rewiring your chakra so you have more energy. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna first, before you even start the practice, like solidify in your consciousness that anything astral is just you doing anything on this level. Like you kind of like have to treat, you have to put it in the same classification, the same category as um just like everyday life. Like it's not anything super special. Once you kind of like have that as your baseline, then you can then relax your heart chakra, because your heart chakra is where your astral body like is tethered to. So when you relax into your heart chakra after you've like almost like deglorified a little bit the astral, it's not like you're, because everything that we do in Antohai is using the higher to bend the lower. So one of the things that I've learned, like practicing it for a while now, is like that you can sometimes bend the higher completely into the lower, so that then the lower almost acts like a net that scoops under and then brings you up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing right now. So we set that intention that it's no big deal. All right, we know that our heart chakra is the center of like opening ourselves up to the astral body. You already started opening it up. Now just start feeling gratitude. Now, a level of gratitude that's not necessarily associated to love, but more so to knowing. The gratitude itself is just you know what you're doing, and that you know it's easy. And as that comes, you're going to feel something come and like almost like flood your third eye or the center of your brain. And you have to give in to that. Then you're going to see that the gratitude inside of you starts slightly morphing into something different, like some sort of different feeling. That's an existence vibration. It's not like a thought process anymore. So then you fall into that existence vibration. It's uncomfortable to like fall into it because you're gonna feel like there's some sort of resistance fighting you. Like for me, when I do it, I almost feel like there's like my cells are sweating like this really nasty toxin, and it almost makes my whole body vibrate. For you, it might be something different that's similar.
It actually kind of feels nice. Is that weird?
No. I know what you mean. Like once you get the hang of it, but it's almost like it's almost a detox feeling. Like you can feel like something's being pulled out of you almost.
Yeah. Yeah, like a purging.
Mm-hmm. So don't focus on the purge because you're starting to bring your oscillation down. So just go back to feeling the gratitude that you know what you're doing. You already have this wisdom. You know it's super easy. Open up your heart center a little bit more. Like now you're gonna have to force it open. So it feels like it's reached its max, but it's not. So now push it. Or like sometimes I even imagine like my astral body will see like an open hole or an open disc, and I just grab the edges and open that hole or disc up more. And then you're gonna feel a little bit of resistance. Take your time expanding it. Now relax. Part of you should be connecting now to your root chakra. Should be feeling hot or like expansive. That's because now you're tapping into the center of creation. Like your root chakra creates. So now you're technically getting even closer to manifestation than most other people would. The base principle of any super ability that anyone would think is possible is the fact that you have to be able to touch that like creation format. I've been channeling all day, so it's gonna be hard for me to talk. So then when you feel your root chakra kind of expanding, don't even focus on the expansion. Put yourself in this mindset that like, all right, it is what it is. Just as easy as you can sit down and chill with your cat, you can just do this. And that's going to feel a little bit foreign again to the heart area. Whenever I feel a lot of tension or pressure, I just breathe it in and then let it go. And then by now you should be feeling something happening at like your brain, almost like your brain wants to like get filled up or cap out with something, but it's just not really touching that frequency just yet, and it kind of ebbs and flows. That vibration is your own perception, which is like limitation itself, like what you believe you're capable of and what you believe reality will allow you to do. So now you have to be like, what's the best mindset to let this go? Nothing I've ever known is true anyway. That's what really gets me there. It's all been a lie. And I'll sit here and I'll even think like, man, when people like, there are people out there right now that don't even understand this, and their lives are so drastically different. Yeah. And then you open up that vibration and own it. Just be like, that's just truth. And feel comfortable with it. And sometimes it starts even like, it starts producing some sort of vibration that almost gives you like the giggles or like a happy, joyful feeling. For me, it's usually the giggles because it's like, what a joke it's all been until this moment that I realized this. Yes. And let go. Whenever thought tries to come back in, you just let it go. Don't even focus on the thought. Don't even focus on letting it go. Just be aware and instantaneously let go. And the throttling of vibration is normal because you're not accustomed to doing it very often. So whenever you throttle, don't be like, man, I want to get back there. Just be like, no, you already are there. Yes. Now apply the same concept to your third eye. All you have to do now is be like, everything I just did, I'm going to just directly target in my third eye and then give into it. You don't even have to repeat the process. The program's already been designed. Right. And it's going to feel like weird shocks at times, almost like your head is like being banged against reality or something. Like these pulsations. You'll notice that the light around you is going to start bending as well. Don't focus on the light bending. Don't focus on anything else. Just literally just exist. With the third eye, it's really important to understand that everything is not what it seems. That's the main component of all reality. And now I'm actually giving you a taste of Antojai 2. This is all in Antojai with the third eye. Nothing is private. Everything's public information. That means everything that we've ever constructed reality around that includes the element of secret is a lie automatically. It's outdated once you've understood this principle. So your brain will naturally, like your soul, your existence will automatically almost question, then what is life if it wasn't that? You're right, what is life? Who cares? And then there's a part of you that struggles in your subconscious that's like, but I gotta know. Do you? Or do you have to experience it? Whenever your subconscious then starts to try to classify experience as something physical, realize that this experience with your mind is the experience itself, and that your mind is not necessarily the experience that's being produced throughout the vessel or the dream. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is peacefully and harmoniously stay right here. There's always going to be something like inside of you that you can feel it. It'll try to drag you back down. But you notice it's just a practice, almost like breathing or something. Like you know that there's that element that's trying to do that. You become conscious of it and you just never let it have its moment by never acknowledging it. It's like a bee that's hitting a window. You know the bee's never going to get inside the house unless you open the window. Until then, you're just aware that it's happening. Right. Now let that course back. There's like, don't change anything. Just set the intention that the vibration is going to echo into your heart chakra. And then just feel your level of gratitude while you're still in this space. So now we're still in this space. Just feel gratitude for being in this space. Not gratitude of love, gratitude, some sort of gratitude that is not explainable in any other sense but the third eye. It might not be able to be describable. I can't describe it. And sometimes it helps just to hear I am gratitude coming out or being somewhat transmitted out of your third eye. You'll instantly notice that all of your attention, almost all of your sight, all of your senses go directly to your third eye. And you don't focus on it. You don't focus on your sight unless it's necessary. So you have to first allow yourself to just simply exist here. Feeling the gratitude, but not glorifying it either. When you glorify something, like a sense that's natural to you, you instantly state that it was something difficult to achieve. When we know that's a lie. Right. And you can feel when your subconscious is trying to take over your thought process, because you're now actively not only rebending reality around you, but as above so below. The lower portion of your consciousness has to obey that, and it's going to try to fight you on it. In these moments, something I've learned so powerfully through the Ascended Master Vishnu and even Gandhi is like surrender. Like there is no fight if I don't even acknowledge you as competition. And then you're going to start feeling, because of this, now you're going to start feeling some sort of tension in your chakras all of a sudden. Like almost like they're on the verge of cracking or breaking, or something's really throwing you off. It's because now your anatomy wants to change itself and wants to elevate itself. So you take a deep breath and you keep relaxing into them. You're going to notice they're all going to cap out and even out to the cusp of whatever they're trying to break through. You just wait. Patience is key. Time is an illusion. So the amount of time it takes to actually attain like the cap out point for each chakra is based on how hard you hold on to the concept of time being related to the chakras in your healing. That's why there's something called instantaneous healing or miraculous healing, because time isn't even a factor in the healing itself. And as you're listening to me, you should have been able to feel the vibration of time being spoken to your soul. You acknowledged it to some degree inside of your third eye. You recognize the vibration of Antojai time. That's something that the third eye itself doesn't recognize on the regular. And it's not applying time to the third eye. It's allowing time to like pour out of the third eye naturally. You have no effort in anything other than knowing that that was a possibility. Exactly. Now you have to then let the rest of your consciousness go wherever it needs to go while this is happening. That's the hardest part, is like you feel it and then you have to totally give into it. Just take a deep breath. Relax. You hit the biggest wall, so all you have to do is know that, okay, we touched the wall, and let's go right back in front of that wall. A lot of times when we're doing this type of work and we lose it, we also feel like, crap, I have to start over, or I have to like work my way there. No, you know the IP address. Think of it as like deep sea diving. There's always like an anchor every so often. You already touched the site, exactly. So just feel comfortable with it. The resistance you might be feeling is the fact that, like, really, is it that easy? Yeah, it really is. Great. Now back to, yes, exactly, the concept of time flowing through your third eye, out of your third eye. No effort whatsoever. It's just happening. Then relax into it. Let that then just take over. Like now you have to let your astral body, that sweating sensation is going to feel like you're being pulled up. The detox that we were doing before is now just going to be your astral body being pulled up in whatever direction that this combination of understanding will bring you. The tightness that you might be feeling at your heart chakra is the anchor of like, where am I going to go? I don't know. What do I expect? Oh my God. There's like something there that's running in the background. Again, who cares? Isn't this what you've been asking for? Just go for the ride. And then you're going to feel like your heart chakra expands. Your third eye and the time signature are there, but they're somewhat blended. the pressure you might have been feeling in your head is not as intense, but you still feel like there's activation in that area because now you've relaxed into existing in the psychic realms. We just climbed from 3D to 4D to 6D. This right here is 6D. Yeah. And it all you have to do is pay attention. Don't use attention linearly like 3D. Just remember the feeling. What is this feeling in your third eye? What is this feeling in your head? What does it feel like around you? Right? How do you feel on the inside? What do you feel like you could do right now? Because there's like an unspoken something that's there at your fingertips, at the edges of you, that you feel like I could do something, but I don't know what I could do. It's almost addicting. Don't define it though. Like, what could you do? Anything? Who knows what I could do? 3D understanding will only take you with that phrase of the unknown in like this cataclysmic, chaotic sense. From 6D, it's like, yeah, I embrace the unknown. Like, that means I have more options and I can technically do whatever I want. All I gotta do is come up with it. Right. Once you understand that, what you just touched is you essentially just understanding that everything's public information, everything's accessible, everything's less difficult than it had to be. And almost like there's also something in your consciousness that naturally will echo. Why doesn't everybody know this? That echoing feeling, whether you heard that same question or you're just feeling it subconsciously, is going to work against you at some point. So you have to let go of the fact of like, why doesn't everyone know this? To not everybody should know this. Only those who need to know it will come into understanding with it, just like you came into understanding Antojai in general. Could you imagine if there was a shit ton of people who understood what we're doing right now? Like, whoever didn't have the consciousness to handle this could easily just dismantle themselves or drive themselves insane. So to be in this moment, understanding 6D is your own privilege and your own trophy in this moment of saying, damn, like I did it. Like I'm worthy of being here. As corny as it sounds, in my mind, sometimes I just see myself standing in front of RuPaul being like, you did it, bitch. And just own that. Now let it be regular. Because you can do this and you can access it, nothing else really matters. It's almost like there's no noise in your mind. And you might even notice that you distorted sound around you. Sometimes that happens. Now, when it comes to manifesting, if everything is now public information and you can access whatever, and you already have a frequency for manifesting, why not manifest what you want into this channel? Now, you're probably asking how and why. Well, the how, you already have ascended space. Like, that's being in the vibration that you're at. Now, you're not going to change anything, but you're now just going to let your ascended space pour through your third eye, through your heart, through your root chakra. And eventually it's going to pour out as something else. Remember, it was effortless the first time. All you had to do was know that it was an option and then let it happen. The only real work you had to do was apply it and acclimate. Now, as you tap into this, you're going to feel waves of energy. You're going to feel like something's ripping you out of whatever reality template you're in. It might feel uncomfortable. It might feel nauseating. This is just a feeling that you're going to have to get used to. If you want to bend reality like this is like high energy bending. If you don't fight the waves or the feeling, if you don't even try to like pay attention to it, if you just completely surrender into it, deep breath. Right? You might be feeling pain or tension as you acclimate. Any pain that like almost throttles you and keeps you in place, there's two things you can do. I usually tell myself like the pain is fake anyway. Like as real as it may seem, I know it's a lie. The pain is it's attached essentially to what? Fear. Fear is an illusion because if I can bend reality, like fear becomes less and less powerful. Yep. And as you do it, like you might feel nauseous, you might feel weird. The pain disappears, but it has to still transfer itself outward. If you don't feel it naturally go down to Mother Earth, then you can just, summon the Mother Earth. I at this point, since you're a Grandmaster as well, so all of the seventh language of Antojai is the Grandmaster course. So just that Mother Earth is at the 10th chakra and the alchemy key, the alchemy table. So what I like to do here is like I open up the alchemy table right underneath me. I just set it to open, and then I put Mother Earth right in the center of it and nothing else. Let it do its thing. Yep. And then you're gonna feel like it does like a really deep purge. And you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is keep existing right where we're at. And as it keeps purging and pulling and purging and pulling, you're going to feel like you get higher and higher and higher, or like more accelerated. Manifestation is essentially the rearrangement of light photons. And right now you're distorting the sound even on the mics. And that's a sign that you're vibrating higher than the mic, than the physical technology in the mic. That means you're beyond matter. Yeah. Don't try to focus on it. Just know like it's real, like it's happening. And then just fall into it. Like, okay, it is what it is. If you're moving faster than matter, that means you're moving faster than the light photons that are creating the hologram of the illusion that we exist in, that we classify as a bunch of different things. You're essentially stepping into a creator mindset. So how do you rearrange the light photons to materialize themselves somewhere else? Well, what does light react to? Gratitude. What does light also react to? DNA. What is light encapsulated in to our level of understanding? A vacuum. That means the vacuum is the blank space in which we rearrange Lego blocks of light into matter on a separate template inside of a video game. Now that you're on that outside cusp, all you have to do is, as a creator, just feel gratitude that you're rearranging all the light photons into an objective. The objective cannot be a clusterfuck of objectives. It has to be one crystal clear thing. It can be an anchor to a feeling or an anchor to a thought. If you have an anchor to a feeling, like let's say, the one thing I've been trying to manifest for me is like having everything on autopilot so that I can just focus on my research and I don't have to even think about money anymore. So I've been doing a lot of traffic funnels and education on that type of stuff. So by doing that, all I would have to say is like, okay, well, my objective being all that in place is having $100,000 in the bank account for Antojai as like it's brand new zero. It's spam, like that's my zero for Antojai forever for the project funds, and everything else from that is just to elevate everything that's coming from there. But zero to me is $100,000 in that bank account. Now the first thing you do is, all right, that's what it is. That's the clearest intention. What comes after that? You have all these like foreign, strange, far out ideas, right? Whatever your manifestation is, it doesn't feel as close. Now I'm going to teach you the latest technique that I've understood with all of this. If you're looking at time, you're only looking, your human condition is designed to look at time from point A to point B. But there is no law in reality that says that you have to work linearly in one direction. That means you do not have to work from the present to the future, or the past to the future, or the past to the present. You can actually be doing to the future, to the present, to the future, to the past. Once you understand that, leave yourself there. Let yourself be driven there. You're going to feel like you're getting pulled somewhere else. Eventually, you'll stop. You got to relax into the pull. You're technically hyperdriving and reconstructing the view of your reality, the observation of your reality. Observation creates perception. If you're not perceiving linear time the same way everybody else around here does, you're actually using a bandwidth that has less resistance on it. Even though resistance is an illusion, until you have really fully understood every aspect of the principle alchemy, resistance is still an idea. So why not create an avenue of travel that has absolutely no travelers on it, which then wouldn't make it congested and makes it easier for you to attain whatever it is you want. That doesn't make you a horrible person whatsoever, because some people are like, well, that's not fair. I mean, there are apps dedicated to finding you alternative routes, like, and nobody complains about that. So this is no different. Just because you didn't know the app existed is not my fault. Nor do I have to feel ashamed of it. Now you're in the future or the current present, and it's still here. It's just layered on top of each other. So now that you're in the future, what do you know now? What do you feel now? Looking back at where you started on that opposite spectrum, when you look back at anything, you look back at like the stress you applied during that time, and you're just kind of like, Man, that was really unnecessary. Any resistance, whatever, right? So let go of it. From the future now, you're just like, ah, that was all funny. It was all a joke. I can't believe I stressed out that much about whatever it was I was looking for. Right. When you have something, you're not manifesting it anymore either. When $100,000 becomes my goal in the bank, I'm not manifesting $100,000 in the bank anymore because I already have it. And you gotta let that like vibrate through the DNA. Your body might feel like it wants to relax. It might want to do something else. You might go through like an experience of weird feelings too, like a flush of feelings. Like I just did it and I started feeling my body got really relaxed and it was just like, okay, all this tension that I've been carrying, like I was carrying in the past, like it just doesn't exist anymore. And even like my dialogue, like I was trying to look at it from that alternate perspective and it's just not here. It's not here. Like I'm looking at it from somewhere totally different. And all of that reality stress that was in the other plateau, it does not exist here because I got over it. And being here and knowing how quickly I did it, and they haven't even done the perceivable work yet, right? Like, that means I've always had it. That means my fear was complete bullshit. Meaning my fear was just myself, like, being afraid of even touching this. And just be, like, super surreal with yourself. Like, whoa, you're literally bending time right now. You're bypassing time. And you just gotta like you'll notice that if you'll find something, something will acclimate, and if you don't keep acclimating, something's gonna try to drag you back. So you have to then, whenever the autopilot sequencing of it stops, you have to then become a conscious creator. Your apps will only create so far for you. Until then, that app has clearly brought us here. So now we have to rather design another app through like our consciousness, which is essentially just the alchemy, or find something to anchor ourselves to. The next thing I usually do is like, man, I'm still sitting in this house. Like I made 100K and I'm sitting in this house. And I can feel that it's not even like, it hasn't been a year at all from the point that I started. That's then instantaneously bending the illusion's hologram to state that like however fast it got to me, it just was like you just expedited shipping. And then naturally you're going to tap into dark feelings, areas that are going to start fighting you, all in your shadow. The first thing that came to me was like, why do you deserve this? Why don't I deserve it? I've spent my entire life helping people. There's shitbags out there with more money than that doing horrible things. Like the cosmos needs a balance, and I know I'm responsible enough, and I have the heart, and I have the ethics, and I have the knowledge to take care of whatever it is that blessing, that manifestation, that now is here for. It's not about having the money for having the power. It's having the bitcoins, right, or whatever, the credits for the video game to just get something done without obstruction. and helping as many people along the way as possible. Why wouldn't I deserve that? And this is where you start using duality to like counterweight whatever your shadow tries to bring to the future. Like the shadow cannot exist in the future, and that's why it's fighting you. It has an interest to survive, and you can't think linearly like a light worker at this point. It's not all about love and light. It's sometimes just straight up light. Like, what are the facts? If everything is dual, there is absolutely no law in reality that states that I can't have what I have if the opposite polarity of whatever it is that I seek is already in existence. And I'm not seeking it because I already know that it's available. So the moment that you even catch yourself saying something like that, like that whatever I've been seeking, like that's bullshit. Like it's already here. Just no one has claimed it, or like no one has become aware of it. I just became aware of it. It's mine. If more people want in on it, they'll find their way here. They're meant to be here. I'm okay with that. Because ultimately, right now, we need more people pushing everybody towards New Earth. And the less resistance there is, the better. Right. And then now what you're feeling is like this, it's an undescribable feeling. It's just almost, it's like the true level of surrealism, I would say. It's just, this is the realest moment. And like, you can't believe like this is the realest moment, but you're not comprehending it consciously as that. Your subconscious is the one that's processing it. And that's why you feel what you're feeling. It's getting its mind blown for a change. And then here is where you can be even more proactive. You don't exist in this reality anymore. Sometimes it's even more brutal than that because you have to be like, you never existed anyway. And that's kind of harsh because your subconscious is you. So you're being like almost like self-destructive towards yourself, saying like you've never been real anyway. And that's why you might feel like some level of like, ouch. That's okay. That pain of being real is what's going to bring you more and more in alignment with what is actually real. Most people can't be real with you. At least you can be real with yourself. You can go right to your shadow. And notice how we did not start off targeting the shadow or even mentioning the shadow. Because if we would have, your shadow would have been expecting it because it's aware of everything that happens. And now you must be asking, well, wait, how do I do that later for myself if I know that my objective is to do this, but I'm not going towards that? Well, there are portions of your consciousness that are somewhat closed off to your subconscious. Why? Duality. If there's subconscious traits that are not conscious to the consciousness, then there are conscious traits that are not subconscious to the subconscious. Understanding that, you can automatically avoid something when you set that intention. So let's do it now. Let's go for something else. You're going to set the intention that you understand this, the dualistic aspect of your consciousness, and how that can actually work for you. So now you're going to isolate the following meditative space or the following thoughts. You don't have to like do much, but just be like, okay, I'm blocking this. This is like I'm blocking myself in a soundproof room within my consciousness, isolated from my subconscious. You're gonna feel that somehow manifest, whether around you or in your body or in your third eye. You can feel you've censored your subconscious. In this moment, like you just have to don't waste time because the window won't last very long. You just have to, what is your next objective? Your objective is to find another core file within your subconscious to blow it out of the water that's tied to any of your objectives right now. All right, now you know that. Don't speak about it again. Don't even reference it or think about it. Just know that it's running in the background. This is where you need to be very conscious of your thought, because if you focus on it for too long, that's what's going to send a signal to your subconscious and it'll prepare itself. If you're in the middle of this meditation and doing whatever that's next and you have like this thought of like you're starting to somewhat think about it, don't freak out. Don't like grab onto it. Just be like, oh, it's almost like, oh, you're about to open your mouth, but you shut yourself up. It's just as easy as that. You're keeping a secret that doesn't need to be spoken. Now let go of the barrier. Okay. Deep breath. You can now notice that there's something listening. That's what's listening. All you had to do is just change that oscillation just a little bit. Now that you're aware of that, take another deep breath. What's the realest thing that you want out of yourself? Is the main thing you should be asking yourself right now. Not a manifestation. Not an objective in the linear reality. What is it that you want ultimately? What's the ultimate answer to your manifest? When you wholeheartedly find the answer, feel the answer. Like you're going to find it. What do I want? This is the most wholehearted thing I want. Example, for me, I just want to be free. I just want to relax. I just want to do what I'm really good at and not have to stress ever about anything. I don't want what I want because I'm looking for fame. Though recognition is nice. I'm not looking for what I'm looking for any other reason than just to be like everything's chill. I'm just chilling. How are you doing, Axel? I'm just chilling. And being able to bring that vibe anywhere I go. How are you doing? Oh, I've been having a hard time. Cheer up. Just like kind of like chill out and pass that vibration in. Spending just 20 minutes with somebody talking about their day, giving them that energy because I'm chilling, will allow them to chill. And who knows how that's going to vibrate. Ultimately, everything just comes back to the ripple effect, the passing it forward. So what do I want most? And I feel that vibe of like, yeah, for real, I'm just chilling. Like everything's great. Like I don't have anything to worry about. And that's the other thing. Think about manifestation, how humans manifest. I'm not talking to you as a human anymore. Like we're star people at this point. Like humans manifest thinking about their problems. Oh, when I have this, I'm gonna be feeling so amazing. Like, oh my god, I don't have any bills. Hold on. If you don't have any bills, why are you even thinking about the bill being a thing? That's counterproductive. I legit don't have anything I gotta worry about. Like, I'm feeling that. Not about like, oh, I can't wait, or not like no. I got nothing to worry about. Absolutely nothing to worry about. Why? Because the universe takes care of me. Why? Because my manifest is in this alchemic ability of understanding all consciousness. Why? Because it's readily available and nobody's taking it away from me, nor am I taking it away from anybody. Now, what's the biggest issue with me when it comes to constantly being here? You should have gotten one or multiple answers almost instantaneously when you asked something like that. I heard your obsessiveness over detail and how when I grew up, manifesting in this style and my culture is considered greedy when it's not, because to feel good about yourself and to feel good about what you're doing with your everyday life for yourself and other people, that's selfless. That's not greediness. If it's selfish to acknowledge that that's what I want to do with my energy, then so be it. I'm totally chill with being selfish to acknowledge that I have that level of understanding that I can then share with other people. Not everybody's going to like that. Who cares? Like, if you don't get it, well, the people who are going to get impacted by that are going to get it. And it's not in your realm of reality to understand what I'm capable of or what I'm doing. Because ultimately, the law of manifestation states that everyone's perception of reality will ultimately bring them into the alignment with their ultimate truth. What you put out into the universe is what you're going to get. I'm putting out what I want. It's not what you want, and that's fine. But I don't have to want what you want. Nor does my truth have to be shamed or throttled or hidden or tempered. Because if multidimensionality exists and our third eye has told us that everything is available, it's already happened. You've already watched me do it. You've already had your feelings about it, and you've had 1,000,000 different kinds of ways you've reacted to this. You're just choosing to perceive this reaction. Right there, you're using, like, that's a mind-blowing concept. You're letting duality literally deconstruct the opposer by completely just like you're empowered to be exactly where you're at. There's no fight because there is no resistance. Resistance has to be agreed upon. In the third reality, resistance is something that you agree upon, you create. And your mind is naturally going to be like, what? And you'll think about history and you'll be like, really? Yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow, but that's part of the process of ignorance itself, and that's the process of this dimension. That's just how things are designed. You can't have any bias even to like the outcomes that have happened to other humans, because ultimately we're understanding this truth right now. We're living it. We're not understanding it, we're experiencing it. That means everybody else that had an experience in reality did the same exact thing. And why they would put themselves through any of that doesn't make sense to us, but it is also not our place to even put ourselves in that level of understanding unless we desire to understand it. And that's not necessarily saying that you're paying a blind eye to all reality either, or like the problems of the world. But if you focus on the problems of the world, you're going to just what? Through the law of attraction, bring more of what is. This is what it means to be a conscious creator, being aware of this stuff. Those answers that suddenly flushed into you. Now we're going to put back up that shield. Make sure yeah. It's still not fully closed, so We gotta make sure, you gotta make sure that you know it's on. What you're feeling right now is that you know it's trying to listen in because it's being closed off. Just have the concreteness that the wall is soundproof. It can be having its ear against the wall and it's still not going to hear anything. Yes. Now, those instantaneous answers that might have flushed into your thought, that was your subconscious being blindsided. Since you never let it know what it was that you were looking for, which is like, what is the ultimate thing that's keeping me away from my ultimate manifest? That's it. You just heard it. You figured it out. That's something it would never have told you had you sat down and even had a one-to-one conversation with your subconscious. You had to trick it by never ever letting it know where you were going. How did I find what I wanted to get to? Well, like we're talking about manifestation. So, like, if we're talking about manifestation and we were manifesting from a different standpoint, what's ever going to keep me away from this? And you have to you have to think non-linearly, and this is how your thoughts will transform over time to understand, like, okay, like, how do I sidestep, using laterally, or alternatively my thought process to completely blindside my subconscious. I'm talking about manifestation. Ultimately, what's my end point is, like, what do I really want to know? What I want to know, what's my major obstacle right now? All right, how do I get there? Well, when you're talking to someone and you lead them in a certain direction, what's my ultimate manifest right now? My ultimate manifest is XYZ. Oh, I'm going to feel it. I'm going to embrace it. You're totally going in the opposite direction from what your subconscious was expecting you to do. Because normally, linearly, from its understanding, you would have started off from square zero, which is like, what is my ultimate manifest? And it would have been like, I'm not going to tell you. Like, you crazy. But now you went through this whole process of like, okay, what is it? Oh, I'm feeling it. So it thinks you're going to try to manifest, or you're going to try to put your attention in totally opposite direction. Oh yeah, okay, I feel it. Wow, okay, this. You can even like focus on other details, and then all of a sudden, you come back to the main process of it all by blindsiding it. Now, what is it that is blocking me from making this a regular, everyday portion of my reality? Your over attentionness to detail, like the way, like, people have told you it makes you feel greedy in shamanic culture, like you're greedy for being in that mindset, and it answers you instantaneously because bam, it wasn't expecting you to say that. It wasn't expecting you to go there, and then now you know what that is. Now all you have to do consciously to dismantle that figure inside of your subconscious is, all right, I'm overly critical about like making sure I have like the best stuff out there, and all of my masters have told me, progress, just make something on a regular basis and refine it as you go along. But like something in my subconscious has always been like, no, like I have to make sure it's solid always. And that's exactly what the problem is. I know that to be true because that's literally what always stops me from. I have a ton of courses that could have released by now, and because I do not feel like they're complete, or I don't feel good enough about them, when are they ever going to be released? When I'm 70? Like, come on, get real. Like, the people need to know. So I'm going to force myself to consciously work against whatever the subconscious told me. And this is what you must always do. Never forget about this technique of isolating yourself. Now we have to go back because if you stay here for too long, like, it's kind of got, you might get like lost only on this side, or your subconscious might like learn how to bypass the system. So you want to just do it in small spurts and then bring down the field. And though you feel like you might want to wind down because you feel really out there, at this point, I would just instantly just like open my eyes, just be conscious of this moment. Like, don't try to unwind it. Don't try to do any of it because you want to leave the energy here. You want to like shock value yourself into like, bam, like this is my anchor, my new anchor. I just got here. You know what I mean? Like, you want to stay there. And if you do this on a regular basis and you practice that on a bunch of different levels with different bunch of different things, you're literally picking Lego blocks of light photons and being like, bam, 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 this is what I'm doing. This is my general construction here.
It's amazing.
What did you experience?
I mean, so many things. I don't know where to begin, but it was really amazing how I could feel something going on, and then you would say exactly what, and then I could feel myself kind of correcting exactly as, and how easy that was. That was really amazing. Like, yeah, just, and there was also a point where I was a really good, the difference of gratitude between one of love or one of, like, that was a huge experience. Just on a side note, because I think, when we think of that, it's always the space of any, yeah. And also that being, not just a light worker, like the love and light thing and being light, that was another very different experience.
Yeah, and like if you think about it linearly, your brain is always, your subconscious is always going to be like, no, like don't, like there's something wrong with that format of thinking. But once you're in it, you're just like, no, like there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Like this is a different tool of perception that's necessary to like elevate yourself altogether.
Yeah, it was very interesting, like perfectly timed too. I had been really working on forgiving myself for my entire life. People have always been like, you're very intense, you're very emotional, you're very intense, and so there was periods where there was a period where my mom started dating my stepfather, and his kids couldn't know about me, and we moved in with him, and I literally had to make myself invisible in his house. So and I didn't realize until recently that really carried over, and through many other ways, where being who I felt like in my full being just challenged things in people, so I would just not do it. Mm-hmm. And that's a shame, because I think there's a lot. What I'm discovering is there was a lot of wonderful power in being that, and so just, yeah. So it's been just even like shutting out the subconscious and like figuring that out. Like, yeah, it was very pertinent.
So did you also feel when like, obviously I'm experiencing it with you, but like I want to hear your like experience of like what it felt like when you isolated the subconscious.
So the first time we did it, it was like these really heavy, like concrete stones just like packed me in, and I felt it really strong. And then when we revisited it and you were like, it's not there, I could feel like I couldn't find it couldn't like connect. And then I started to try and visualize more of a orb, and that didn't work because it was still penetrable. Mm-hmm. Like you could see through it. So, and then finally I could feel it like click in with a wall, and it just, so that was very interesting to, I mean, it's incredible that you can feel, like, because I was like, oh my God, how does he know that, whatever. But yeah, it really, I guess, feeling such subtleties of it, and there's like, I mean, I've had a weird trajectory in life, but I taught yoga for years too, and I would feel things, and I constantly like, I'm not as much a visual person. I'm much more of a kinesthetic. Like, I really feel. But being able to feel on all these really subtle levels has been an experience altogether, and trust myself in feeling that. And there is a certain level of validation when you're also saying it, I have to admit, because I'm like, okay, then I'm not insane, you know?
Yeah.
So that was really, I mean, it's kind of been all a blur, but when you ask a question, I can remember the experience. So if there's another part of it, I can probably zero in on it. But
I think the other question I would want to know is, do you feel confident that you can do it on your own?
I mean, maybe with a guided thing for a little bit, like this recording or something, I think I could. I think I can do it. I have a pretty strong visceral memory of it, so I think if I do it soon enough, I kind of tap into it again.
Okay, all right, yeah. So I just wanted to ask that question just to see how your subconscious processed what we just did. What I want you to remember is that just because you already had the experience, you know how to do it. Like, you'll remember how to do it. Don't question on like, oh, I need to practice, which practice is going to obviously draw it out of the subconscious into conscious practice. But even if you were like, when I'm going to sleep, this is what I'm going to do next, and you didn't even memorize it that well, it would still happen because you have that internal knowledge.
That makes sense. Absolutely.
Okay, so that's the main other thing, because when you do these types of things, the way you're gonna keep growing is because your subconscious is gonna naturally, like, now you're kind of like back. You're like, you paradigm shifted. And also, that's the other question. Did you feel like as you were bending reality, did you feel that? Did you feel how you were put in some other areas, like the shift of time? Like, what was your experience with the shift of time?
I definitely felt, I mean, with the shift of time when it was like going through the third eye, or once I was in the sixth dimension, and then it started to, I had an experience. I can't verbalize what it was.
Okay.
But there was definitely I felt it was the part that was really interesting to experience that was when you were saying, like, you're in your home, but these things have already like been realized, and so that collapse of things, I felt very strongly. And that was really so I guess the collapse of it, that would be how I felt it.
Okay, so you felt the drop of the dimensions click in. Did you feel when you turned like linear reality around on itself? When we started realizing everything from the future to the past to the present? And if you don't remember, that's fine.
I can't. I remember having an experience during that moment, but I can't exactly remember how to. Yeah.
Yeah. No big deal. No big deal. Cool. All right.